Welcome to 6 Phase VMS T Initiation Exposure classes. Today we couldn't take up the class at 10:30 a.m. We are now taking it at 12 noon. The change in time was in very exceptional circumstances. Welcome. Today our focus is going to be upon one kalp as a existence range of 14 manu. In phase 3, our focus is upon self-referral boundary of unity state. In step 1, we have been exposed to introductory features only. From today, we will take up specific features, and the first specific feature we are taking up is a kalp. Kalp is a concept, kalp is a range, and kalp is a particular range of the existence phenomenon of as many as 14 manu. Sadhkas, students, teachers and scholars are welcome. Let us open new page in our notebook of 6 Phase VMS T Phase-3. Let us mention it that today our focus is going to be upon the concept of a kalp and of a manu, both. Therefore, in sheet 3, let us have a revisit. The sheet 3 gives us a physical depiction, pictorial symbolic depiction for hypercube 7, the representative regular body of 7 space. Domain boundary ratio is a raised to power 7 is to 14 b raised to power 6. This 14 b raised to power 6 as such is a self-referral boundary of 14 components, and a raised to power 7 as such is a unity state. Therefore it is 7 space. So 7 space as domain and 6 space as a boundary of 12 components. Today we will be revisiting a self-referral boundary of 14 components. This range of 14 units or 14 steps long range as such is taken as the existence phenomenon of 14 manu. And these are 14 units, and these 14 units as these be taken as manus. There are 14 manus, and these 14 manus as such be for the initial acceptance be taken as the 14 boundary components. These 14 boundary components be taken as 14 manus. It is a conceptual comprehension phase and stage, and as such these 14 components of 7 space, these 14 components be taken as 14 manu. When we say these 14 components be taken as 14 manus, that would mean that this particular range, when we say b raised to power 6, that means we want to imply that it is a 6 space as a boundary component. Now 6 space as a boundary component will help us have a reach at the Sthapatya miring rod swapping of this domain, and this swapping in terms of 6 steps as Sthapatya miring rod of interval, square, cube, hypercube 4, hypercube 5 and hypercube 6, as representative regular bodies of 1 to 6 space. These representative regular bodies of 1 to 6 space are creating a format. It is a Sthapatya miring rod format. This Sthapatya miring rod format leads us to a values range 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These values as such lead us to the summation value 21. This value 21 as such is equal to TCB, transcendental code value of formulation Manu. One shall make a specific note as that Vedic systems are accepting the self-referral boundary of 14 components as a format of the existence phenomenon of 14 Manus. Therefore, along this self-referral boundary of 14 steps, we are having 14 Manus. These 14 Manus as such are the conceptual personalities, conceptual Purushas. These conceptual Purushas are a living existence phenomenon, and it is this living existence phenomenon with which we have to be face to face, and while being face to face with this living existence phenomenon of 14 Manus along the format of a self-referral boundary of unity state. So A raised to power 7 space is enveloped within a self-referral boundary of 14 components. That means 14 Manus together envelop the unity state. Our unity state means 7 space, which would mean a Dhruv, means a pole star. The pole star is enveloped by 14 Manus. These 14 Manus are enveloping Dhruv. Further, we know that Dhruv as 7 space is playing the role of origin of 6 space. Origin of 6 space would mean the origin of a Surya, means sun. Now, the 7 space, Dhruv, 14 Manu, 14 Manus of TC value 21, as these are further bringing us face to face with the phenomenon of 7 space playing the role of origin of a 6 space. Now, origin of 6 space means it is within a 6 space domain. Therefore, within a 6 space domain, there emerges a unity state, 7 space, and it is within a self-referral boundary of 14 components. This phenomenon of our solar universe, of our existence phenomenon, with pole star as the origin of sun, pole star as the origin of Surya, pole star as the origin of our solar universe. Our solar universe, as it is having pole star as its origin. In another language, the solar universe as it is creating a self-referral boundary of pole star. Therefore, a pole star is having self-referral boundary. This self-referral boundary is of 14 components. These 14 components are the format for 14 Manu. This phenomenon, this feature, this concept deserves to be comprehended well. One shall sit comfortably, one shall permit the transcending mind to be face to face with this phenomenon. self-referral boundary of a unity state is being availed as a format for the existence phenomenon of 14 manus. 14 manus together are existing, availing the format of self-referral boundary of 14 components of unity state 7 space. More nearer, this format takes us to that a pole star as origin of solar universe accepts solar universe as a self-referral boundary. Solar universe as a self-referral boundary of the pole star is a existence phenomenon in terms of which our solar universe gets organized as of 14 components. Our solar universe as a self-referral boundary format is organizing itself as of 14 components. This feature is the basic feature. This feature deserves to be comprehended well. One needs to be face to face with this particular feature, as that the self-referral boundary of 14 components of unity state is providing a format for the existence phenomenon of 14 manus. Further, it is parallel to the format for the pole star being enveloped within a self-referral boundary of 14 components. Therefore, we have to approach our solar universe as a self-referral boundary of 14 components. Let us from today start making enlistment of the conclusions. These conclusions deserves to be enlisted specifically. Each conclusion deserves to be pointedly enlisted. These conclusions shall be given a star mark. Therefore, 1 star would mean the first basic conclusion of 6 space VMS T being reached at by the Vedic system. Therefore, here we can make a first entry of the star conclusions. The first star conclusion is that our solar universe is creating self-referral boundary for the pole star, and the same is of 14 components. Here we can also have a further pause and make a note that these 14 components of the self-referral boundary of pole star as such are also called bhuvans. These are 14 bhuvans. One should make this formulation. One should note down this formulation: 11, 8 and 9. It is equal to 28, and this is the value of a Brahm. It is a value of a second perfect number. Vedic systems are availing this feature of 6 space VMS T, that our solar universe is the self-referral boundary of pole star. Our solar universe as a self-referral boundary of pole star makes each component being a bhuvan. There are 14 components of our solar universe as a self-referral boundary of pole star. Each self-referral boundary component of our solar universe is a bhuvan. Therefore, there are as many as 14 bhuvans, and bhuvan is a formulation which is accepting Tc value 28. This value Tc value 28 is the value of the formulation Brahm, and 28 we know is the formulation is the second perfect number. Further we know that value 28, when we take 1 to 28 and when we reach at the factors, as then we will see that this leads to 56 factors. It is a blissful state, it is a wonderful state, and it is this state which deserves to be imbibed well. One shall tabulate numbers 1 to 28, and in the second column one should have the factors of these numbers 1 to 28, and then we will see the total factors of values 1 to 28 comes to be 56. It means it is precisely 28 plus 28. That means it is here where the number values are regenerating themselves. The number value 28 is duplicating itself. It is this duplicating feature of number value 28 which deserves to be marked as 2-star conclusion. The first star conclusion is that our solar universe is a self-referral boundary of 14 components of pole star. The second star conclusion is that each of the 14 self-referral boundary components created by our solar universe for the pole star is a bhuvan, means it itself is of a value 28, means it is Brahm. Therefore, our solar universe is taking us to a Brahman domain. Vedic systems are successful to work out our solar universe as a self-referral boundary of 14 components for enveloping pole star. Pole star is enveloped by our solar universe as 14 components. Each component, so each zone, each solar zone domain of the boundary format is a bhuvan. This bhuvan would mean that from Surya, 6 space, number value 6, first perfect number, we can reach at the value 28, Brahm. This reach from Surya to Brahm is the reach success of the Vedic system. 3-star conclusion may be preserved in a language which one is finding it natural to comprehend. One way to express it would be that the sadhakas meditating, transcending, aspiring, urging, being face to face, and having a transcendental grace of attainment, of transition and transformation from the Surya domain, from 6 space domain to Brahman domain. And this reach from Surya domain to Brahman domain is attainable in 14 different ways. One can have a pause here and further take note that the Dhruv, which is pole star, as a Purusha is a Dhruv Bhagat. Now this Dhruv as a Purusha, Dhruv Purusha had reached for this enlightenment by reciting, by going to the shelter of the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. See, here we have one syllable, here we have pair of syllables, here we have quadruple syllables, and here we have 5 syllables. These syllables 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 12 syllables. These 12 syllables mantra is parallel to a raised to power 6 is equal to 12 b raised to power 5. In terms of it, one is successful to have a transcendental boundary for 6 space. And now further, when this 6 space is creating a self-referral boundary for a unity state. So transcendental boundary of 12 components for the self-referral domain and self-referral boundary for the unity state. These are the features. Therefore, this 6 by 6 grid along this diagonal of value 5 each, and then this diagonal of value 7 each, and at the middle a value of 6 each. It is this reach, it is this transcendence, it is this phenomenon which is at work when we are availing the transcendental boundary for the self-referral domain and a self-referral boundary for the unity state. These features deserve to be comprehended well. Once we are face to face with these features of one kalp of 14 manus, then let us now revisit the formulation kalp. It is of TC value 13. It is parallel to 13 geometries of 6 space. Therefore, self-referral boundary, 6 space as a boundary, is of 13 components. Therefore, one kalp which is giving us a format of 14 manus is having 13 gaps. So 14 manus or 14 points will lead to 13 gaps. Therefore, the kalp as such can be conceptually taken as a format of a self-referral boundary of 14 components with 13 gaps. Therefore, these 13 gaps of self-referral boundary of 14 components, 13 gaps of self-referral boundary of 14 components. Therefore, along the self-referral boundary, which is of 14 components, these 14 components give us 13 gaps. Therefore, kalp is aiming to bring us face to face with this feature of the self-referral boundary. So when we will be having 6 space bodies, 14 in number, and we will arranging them 14 hypercubes 6, then the gaps in between of this arrangement are going to be 13. Now we have to bridge these gaps. 6 space mathematics, science and technology is the technology which is availing self-referral boundary of 14 components and is having a mathematics and technologies for bridging the 13 gaps of this 14 points long boundary. So this array, this arrangement of 14 points with 13 gaps are taken as 14 plus 13 is equal to 27 is equal to 3 raised to power 3. Now we will coming back to this particular features when we will be actually working out this format. Here it would be blissful to take note that the Vedic systems are working out this kalp, this self-referral boundary of 14 components with 13 gaps. These 14 manus and these 13 gaps. Now this array as it is being taken as 1000 chaturyugs. Now this concept of a chaturyug we had seen yesterday is taking us to a format of a kalyug which is of a 1000 units. Dwapar Yuga is 2000, Treta Yuga is 3000, Satya Yuga is 4000. However, these are the gaps in between are bridged. This gap is here extended. Say for this 1000, the extension is of 100, and on this side also 100. This square of 2000 is having extension gap filling 200 and a 200. Like that, it comes to be of 12,000 units. Now these 12,000 units as a unit again, so we will be having 1000 such units. These units, 1000 units, are being worked out as of 14 components. This way each manu range is being worked out. It is here where from we have to go a step ahead, and it is that when we, instead of having one kalp which is taken as a Brahma's creator's one day life range, one day life range of Brahma, creator the supreme, is being taken as of a particular unit. Now this particular unit is similarly being availed for one night. Therefore, for being face to face with Vedic systems working processes, then we have to see that we have to work with a pair of kalps. Working with pair of kalps would means we'll be having as many as 28 manu. And further we know that hypercube of 14 will be taking us to 29 versions, and 29 is the TC value of Brahma, creator the supreme. Further we know that value 28 as dimension is taking us to value 30 as a domain. One may have a pause here and take note that as the values range 1 to 28 leads to factors 28 plus 28, likewise the value 1 to 30 takes us to factors 30 plus 30. It is this feature which should be mentioned as a star conclusion. The fourth star conclusion be mentioned as that Vedic systems are availing the unique feature of values pair 28, 28 and 30. This uniqueness about this pair is that firstly it is of a dimension and domain format. Secondly, as that value 28 is a unique value which for range 1 to 28 leads to 28 plus 28 is equal to 56 factors. Likewise, value 30 is of a parallel uniqueness as that values range 1 to 30 leads us to factors 30 plus 30. It is this reach for value 28 as 28 plus 28 and value 30 as value 30 plus 30. Therefore, it is this uniqueness of the existence phenomenon of our solar universe. It is this existence phenomenon of our solar universe reached at by the Vedic systems along the Sthapatya mirroring format becomes the basic attainment, reach of 6-space VMS T. This basic attainment reach of is that we know that 28 and 28 together will be leading us to value 30, synthesis value, and value 30 and 30 will lead us to value 32. However, we know that 28 is leading to factors 56 and 13 is leading to factors 60, and it is this phenomenon that when the self-referral boundary of the pole star as a unity state created by our solar universe, the same when gets split into 14 components, then these 14 components lead us to bhuans. These bhuans, as these are the reach of the self-referral boundary of unity state, is the attainment with which we have to be face to face with. Before we proceed further with other sheets, let us have a pause here and take note that when we are having a setup of a cube with spatial boundary, two space in the roller boundary, and when this surface plate is stripped off, it dimensionalizes the outside space as a spatial order 4 space. Likewise, when hypercube 4 has enveloped within a solid boundary of 8 components, so when this solid boundary component is a strip off, and then it will be dimensionalizing the outside space as a 5 space, a solid order 5 space. And when we are at the transcendental domain, which is within a creative boundary, it is within a creative boundary of 10 components. And when this creative boundary component is stripped off, it dimensionalizes the outside space as 6 space. It is this dimensionalization feature a step ahead when the self-referral boundary of this transcendental boundary of self-referral domain will be unifying, dimensionalizing the outside state as a unified state. It is this feature which deserves to be comprehended well in the context and in continuity. When we will be at a pole star, means when we will be at 7 space enveloped by a self-referral boundary of 14 components, and when this component will strip off, it will dimensionalize the outer space, the space outside the pole star. It will become miniature. Here the galaxies are formed. Vedic systems are reaching the universe beyond the pole star as a pole star at the periphery of the nature. The word nature, Prakriti, is the formulation which is of TC value 18, of value 3, 4, 5 and 6. It will take us to 6 space in the origin. We will be coming to these features subsequently. However, for the present, it will be blissful that we shall sit comfortably and to sequentially revisit all these features of the self-referral boundary of a unity state as a one kalpa format of 14 manu. Further, let us see how this format, one kalpa format, when is duplicated, when pair of kalpa formats are taken, then we are reaching at the phenomenon. These values are sequentially taking us to a space a Brahmand, a universe beyond the pole star. Pole star is at the periphery of the nature. This nature as Asht Prakriti, nature as Asht Prakriti is the feature which is to be reached at. We have to sit comfortably and we have to very gently, very sequentially, step by step, have to work out the different specific features of self-referral boundary as a format for the kalp as existence phenomenon of 14 manus. The existence phenomenon of 14 manus along the format of a self-referral boundary of unity state is the phenomenon, is the feature, is the value, is the format which is to be comprehended well. We have to imbibe it, and for its imbibing we have to be face to face with the features for which these 7 space features we will be reaching at only when we will be in the next lesson taking up a concept of a Surya Rath. It, like 14 Manu's concept as of a kalp. So this kalpa vidya, this self-referral boundary as a format for 14 Manus, how this format, how the universe, how the 7 space universe is being processed, is being reached at, is being rejuvenated, is being potentialized, is being reinvented by the sun along a chariot. So sun chariot, the chariot on which, Rath on which Surya has a pilgrimage of unity state, the solar universe as a self-referral boundary of a unity state. Now this state, this 6 space which itself is enveloped within a self-referral bound, the transcendental boundary, and the transcendental domain which is enveloped within a creative boundary, and the creative boundary itself is playing the role of dimension of 6 space. All these features, so 7 space, 6 space and 5 space, are to be worked out together with the feature that pair of transcendental dimensions give value 7, means a unity state. So creation of a unity state as a synthesis value of a pair of the transcendental dimensions, transcendental domain enveloped within a creative boundary of 10 components, and this self-referral domain is enveloped within a transcendental boundary of 12 components, and the unity state is enveloped within a 14 bhuvan. Now these values, these features as such will be the features in terms of which we will be appreciating the Surya Rath. Surya gives us a value 13, Rath has a 10, total value comes to be 23, and this 23 is the value of Anant, infinitely infinite universe. It is a sahastra. How the Vedic systems are successful to exhaustively chase our solar universe as a format of the unity state boundary. So unity state created as enveloped within a self-referral boundary of the solar universe. Solar universe as a self-referral boundary of pole star. This solar boundary, this self-referral boundary of the unity state is the traveling path, is the pilgrimage path. It is this pilgrimage path. Therefore, this pilgrimage path is the path of a Surya Rath. How the chariot of the sun is having exhaustive pilgrimage of the unity state, a pole star universe, of seven state universe. This is the feature, this is the applied value, this is the attainment value. These from here, in fact, from mathematics to technologies to sciences. So mathematics, sciences and technologies all together are being worked out as the chase is going to be with the help of a Surya Rath. Therefore, in the next lesson, in the next stage, we'll be specifically taking up Vishnu Puran, second Ansh, chapter 8, shlokas 1 to 7, and in continuity the further scripture. Therefore, students of Vedic mathematics, science and technology, sadhakas who are fulfilled with intensity of urge to have a specific details of the 6-space VMST shall begin a 6-space mathematics, 6-space sciences, 6-space technologies by having revisit to the solar calendar as Rig Ved, Jyotish Vedang and Yajurved Jyotish Vedang, and the Vishnu Puran description of a Surya Rath, chariot of a sun. So chariot of a sun and the Jyotish Vedang are the source scriptural preservations in terms of which we shall be revisiting the working steps and the attainments of 6-space Vedic mathematics, science and technology. Thank you very much.